It doesn't feel, though, today like the narrative has shifted much at all, that the needle moved either way for her or against her in the aftermath of this.
I think that is a marker of success.
Just maintain the status quo.
Maintain the status quo, do no harm. And there weren't a ton of breaking headlines coming out of this interview. Mm-hmm. She went in. She looked poised. She was poised. She got the job done, and move on. And I think that her camp is probably pretty happy today.
Yeah, make no news. Maybe not something the journalists are seeking, but the campaign might. And of course, her campaign is continuing. She recorded that interview in Georgia yesterday. She's hitting the other swing states, some of them this weekend, Michigan, and then Pennsylvania on Monday, marking Labor Day with Joe Biden by her side in Pittsburgh.
I think that is a very telling trip. The two of them going there, it is his adopted home state, and it is a direct appeal to those blue-collar workers, those union workers in Western Pennsylvania, in the Pittsburgh area, that she needs to come out in big support behind her. Biden has always had ties to labor. She's less so. So she really needs to convince them to get out to vote. In order to win Pennsylvania, and it is all Pennsylvania, 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 on election night, she needs an outsized number of voters in Philadelphia and in Western Pennsylvania as well.
And of course, our new poll that came out with Bloomberg and Morning Consult yesterday shows her up 4 points in Pennsylvania. Yeah. She's up in all of the swing states except Arizona, in which she's tied with Donald Trump, though the only state obviously outside of the margin of error is Wisconsin, where she's up by 8 points. But of course, as we heard her yesterday outlining maybe in broad terms about policy, likely we'll hear her doing more of that on the trail this weekend. She can't do that much if she doesn't have Congress coming along with her. So how important is the polling we're seeing, not just on the head-to-head presidential map-up, but in these same states, even in states like Arizona, where Ruben Gallego's up against Carrie Lake, or Bob Casey in Pennsylvania, who could be seen as vulnerable? How should we be considering the down-ballot impact of her candidacy here?
It cannot be understated, the importance of that. The Democrats are trying desperately to maintain control of the Senate. It is a difficult map for them. They've already essentially lost West Virginia with Joe Manchin deciding not to run. So that puts them at 50-50. They can afford to lose no one else, essentially. And you have a lot of tight races, including John Tester in Montana, a state that Trump is very popular in. So that's incredibly important. And then you have the House as well. And the House, I think, is more likely to flip into Democratic hands thanks to some dynamics there, particularly in New York and in Southern California and some other districts that I think will come out in high numbers for Harris, and we'll see flips there. She cannot get any of her tax proposals in particular through Congress without having staunch allies up there and at least control of one chamber. We saw that play out with the IRA in Biden earlier on in Biden's term. And, he really had to twist some arms and get that through. All
right. Bloomberg's Megan Scully, thank you so much for joining me. And now our other top story today, as we were just discussing with the White House's Jared Bernstein, new economic data teeing up a Fed rate cut in just a few weeks' time. At least that's what the market believes at this point. Joining me now for more is Bloomberg's Enda Curran. So, Enda, it was in part the PCE data, which, of course, is what the Fed looks very closely at, in part the UMich consumer sentiment data. How often have we heard Chairman Powell talk about managing inflation expectations? If those are down, too, does all of this add up for justification of a 50 basis point cut?
Well, it's certainly heading for a rate cut. The inflation numbers today, very good news indeed for the Fed. This is the core inflation reading that the officials will look at. It rose 0.2% in July, and on a 3-month annualized basis, which they really prefer, 1.7% slowest this year. This strips out like volatile prices for food and energy, so it's considered a good handle on inflation. And the story is, it means prices are cooling. And then to your point, of course, that does clear the way for the Fed to do something in September. And by how much, of course, it's a tough call. It all depends on jobs. The jobs data comes out next week. Next Friday, we get the August payrolls figures, and that will say a lot for what's going to happen borrowing costs in the months ahead.
Well, especially considering the weak payrolls report in July, or the July payrolls report that made many people worry. Before we even get to jobs, though, And we also get ISM manufacturing on Tuesday, right when we return from the holiday. How important could that data be, considering how soft it has been?
Manufacturing has been in the doldrums. It's interesting, the broader economy doing okay, obviously, as you know, certain areas booming, consumers holding up. But manufacturing, even with all the investment going to certain sectors like EVs and chips and everything else, the broad sector has just been in the doldrums, sluggish order books, sluggish unemployment. So it will be interesting. And of course, the manufacturing sector is so sensitive for the political cycle. It all feeds into it. If they're warning of job losses and slowing down, that will feed into the background of mood music for jobs on Friday. But it's not the biggest employer in the country. That's still like services and other sectors. So, whatever figure does come out on Friday will be the bigger headline of next week.
Well, that certainly is true, and we're all going to be staying tuned for what happens a week from Friday. Of course, it comes to the point you were just making about the political ramifications or considerations in manufacturing, especially in the middle of a presidential election cycle in which we're getting policy proposals from both candidates, frankly, that economists have criticized as potentially inflationary. Budget watchers talking about as potentially deficit additive, whether it is large tax cuts under Trump or more subsidies when it comes to housing under Harris. How should we be thinking about a Fed cutting cycle that may be about to begin and quickly could be forced to end potentially if there's inflationary forces at work because of fiscal policy?
It's very tricky. I mean, there's a lot at play in this election economically. Both sides are bringing a lot to the table in terms of policy, like tax cuts, tax credits, housing measures, tariffs on goods. There's a lot of play from both camps. But to your point, for the Fed, it looks like they've got a win out of lower rates now. Inflation's heading in the right direction, but they may be sailing into a political storm. That's the other part of it. They obviously are not party political, but they don't want to be dragged into politics either. If they cut rates, they'll be blamed by one side ahead of the election. If they hold off and don't cut rates until after the election, they'll get blamed by the other side. So they have to juggle both the politics and the economic policies that are coming down the tracks. I mean, there's really a lot on their plate right now.
Well, and how many times have we heard Chairman Powell have to say at news conferences, we are not taking the election into consideration. We operate independently. Certainly that doesn't make the Fed immune, though, from politicians weighing in. Elizabeth Warren this week suggested she wants to see at least 75 basis points in September. But I don't think there's any Wall Street economist who's calling for that, right?
Well, the markets are pricing in a reasonable amount of rate cuts by the year. But as I say, it really comes down, if payrolls next Friday are weak, then that will light up expectations that the Fed have to move, not just by 25, 50 in September and go again as soon as they can after that, no question. But if payrolls come in fairly okay, then it will lend itself to this gradual idea that the Fed can sort of take their time with the easing and just let the economy take this natural glide path. So much riding on the jobs data, has to be said.